Hello and welcome along to episode 7 of our stadium review series, Review the 92. Myself and Tom every week, my co-host, joins me to talk about certain areas of particular grounds, all the ones we've visited together in the 92. And we rank them in the areas and probably upset a few fans along the way, it would be fair to say. Particularly last week, which I'm sorry for again. However, we're back to more positive ground this week, which is going to be a nice one for us. Nice memories on the pitch and a pretty picturesque setting off it. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a happier one. And fingers crossed we won't be able to upset anyone this week. But firstly, if you're looking forward to this episode, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Make sure you catch up with the series so far in the eye above and let us know in the comments if you've got the same opinion or even if it's a different one. Just please don't swear at me. However, we move on to Carlisle this week. So a much happier day for us. It was a beautiful day, a lovely trip on the train up north, and a fantastic day for the club that we were following as well. So we were part of 1,400 fans that went to Brunton Park. So let me give you the stats about the ground and the game we went to. So the ground itself, Brunton Park, home of Carlisle United, currently has a full capacity of 17,949. It is the biggest non-all-seater stadium in the English football pyramid, which is a nice little stat.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they're planning to move away at some point, but I would like to hope that...
Please don't do that. If the board of Carlisle's by chance watching our little podcast, please, we beg you.
Absolutely. They've had it reduced a couple of times in recent years due to certain areas failing safety inspections, but the vast majority of the ground has been open. The other stat that we normally give, it was built in 1909 and opened the same year. Carlisle v Newcastle was the first game, and its record attendance is tied for an FA Cup tie in 1957 and a league game a few years later, both 27,500 before the seating came in. So it's a pretty big one. It's had its problems over the years. It's unfortunately in an area which means it's been flooded quite a few times when there's been national flooding. It's had a fire as well, unfortunately, like a lot of the grounds have in England. But at the moment, it was all well and good, and it looked lovely on the day we went. So we went to watch Carlisle Luton in 2018. It's one of the last games of the League Two season, and with it, Luton secured promotion back to League One. What were your initial thoughts of the day, Tom?
Yeah, positive memories from start to finish. Loved everything about the day. I mean, you're bound to when your team seals promotion, but put that to one side. I still will only speak highly of the whole match day experience regarding Brunton Park, and I think you'll agree with me, right? It's just great little ground. Well, not even little actually. 17,900. I'm surprised how big it can be.
Yeah, well, there was quite a big terraced area, wasn't there? So.
Yeah, kind of behind one of the goals. There's a terrace, isn't there? And yeah, in a beautiful location, lovely train ride, which I'm sure we'll get into in a minute. But yeah, fantastic day. I loved it.
Absolutely. It was a brilliant result for Luton, obviously, a point that probably was one of our best single points of a long time because it guaranteed us promotion behind Accrington Stanley at the time. But talk to me about the travel to the ground, because that was obviously one of the highlights of the day as well. And as you say, we go on public transport, so that's an important bit for us.
Yeah, so as we've mentioned, obviously we're both from Luton. I now live in Leeds, so you'd come up to stay at mine, and then because it's obviously a big journey from pretty much anywhere in the country, let alone down south. So you'd come up, hadn't you? I met you in Leeds train station, I think, on the day.
Yeah, I came up early on Saturday morning that week.
So you did a big journey yourself.
Yeah.
And then I joined you in Leeds about halfway. And then we did that, I think it's 2.5 hours off the top of my head.
Yeah, just over that.
Carlisle. Yeah. And we didn't know what we were getting ourselves in for, really. Like, it just turned out to be one of the most beautiful train journeys I've been on in my life. And
it was apparently a well-known, iconic one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Since that day, I've told people, and they're like, oh, yeah, you don't know. Like, I think it begins really getting picturesque at a town called Settle.
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't know that Settle to Carlisle is one of the most, like, picturesque train journeys in the country. I was like, no. But it made it even more special in a way, because then we were just like, oh, look at it. And it was like April, wasn't it? About 2 years almost just over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was nice weather, just the sun on the hills, and it's like proper like that northern like English countryside. Like, wow, we're being spoiled on this train journey.
It was a hot day. It was a beautiful day. I mean, everything was pretty much perfect in the travel there, so no complaints whatsoever. It's going to pretty much give a very good score for location. It was quite a nice walk to the ground because it was a beautiful day. Now, the thing I wanted to pick out before we go into the details and the areas was outside the ground. It was almost like a weird, behind the goal where you entered, it was almost like a weird green behind the stand. And like loads of
Yeah,
fans were just sunbathing on there, just sitting having a chat. It was quite a nice picturesque scene outside a football ground and very unique.
yeah. Again, the weather really helped. We've been talking about the weather pretty much every episode, and on this occasion, it's working in the ratings' favour. But yeah, surrounded by a nice bit of greenery, just kind of felt like what you'd expect. Quite the whole quite in keeping with the whole match day experience. It was really like quite rural and just felt really like family and cozy, family oriented. Like on the train journey, I remember stopping at these little towns, and a Carlisle fan got on our train, and there must have been best part of an hour still to go on the
And it
train
was probably
journey.
the
It's just
most
because it's
local
so,
club. Yeah.
yeah, it's just because it's so where it is in the country. It's so remote. Obviously, it's got a huge catchment area, and just these little villages have no proper football to watch, so they have to go to watch Carlisle. And I just loved all of that. It just added to it for me.
Absolutely. I mean, we'll move on to the certain areas now, and I know that this is going to be hard because, as you've said and alluded to before, the weather and the team's result is often going to sort of make you biased, whether you're trying to or not. And on this occasion, both of them are heavily in favour of Carlisle, so
Mm-hmm.
we're possibly at risk of being a bit more lenient than we would be otherwise. So let's start with atmosphere. What did you make of it? Because the thing, obviously, the away fans were quite buoyant. They thought that was the promotion day, and it turned out to be. The home fans, I don't remember it being vociferous, but it was certainly a pleasant atmosphere, if not the most vocal in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I won't pretend I'm any kind of expert on Carlisle's recent season. So what were they playing for? Anything to play for? Were they just like mid-table, had nothing really to play for at that point of the season? I don't know.
I don't know. I think they were playoff bound. I can't
Just
remember.
outside the playoffs, was it?
Yeah, I think
I don't
so.
know.
I think they were still a shout at the playoffs at that point.
But yeah, obviously the Luton fans had much more expectation going into the game
Yeah,
and much more reason to be in fine voice. So yeah, of course the away fans. I didn't realise how many. You said 1,400, did you?
yeah.
So that's good following. And obviously it's party time, isn't it? Promotion party. So yeah, the atmosphere was good. It's bound to be, isn't it? You'd expect it to be.
Give me a number first. You can be the nice one that goes first today.
Got to give it a 9, I guess.
Wow. I mean, that's basically the perfect description of being lenient because of the elements. So I'm going to be fair and give it a 7 because I would say the Carlisle home support on a normal day is not going to absolutely blow your socks off, which is what I would give a 9 out of 10 for. But it was a good atmosphere. It was a lovely place, and
But
they were well supported as well.
can I just add to that then? I'm giving a 9 because we were in the away end of a
Which
club
didn't
that's
stop.
just been like, I remember the goalkeeper James Shea running over to us at full time like, have you checked up, like, you've been on your phones, what the scores around the country, like, have we been promoted? We were like, and then all the players started celebrating. I was just like, that's ridiculous. It's crazy. He was checking with us, have we gone up? And I just like, how can I separate that? I know I'm just not impartial, and I don't want it to be. It was my match day experience, and it was something I'll never forget. It was incredible. So I'm not going to lower my score. I don't care. I'm being
I won't,
biased, proudly being biased.
I won't argue with that, but it is my job not to be biased. So I will say that I am definitely not being on this occasion. Otherwise, I would have given it significantly more. But we move on to one where I can't find a reason to rank it down, and that is location. And for me, that goes from everything to the journey there, which, despite starting for me at I think 5:45 in the morning, was unbelievable, particularly finding the train route that we didn't know was famous. The walk to the ground in the sunshine, that weird little green behind the ground. The ground itself, it wasn't a huge walk. It was all flat. It was just down one road. I remember it pretty much. I'm pretty sure we had a cheeky Nando's before as well
Cheeky
on the
Nando's,
end of
yeah.
that road at the far end.
I was just gonna add that we had a cheeky Nando's. Yeah.
So for me, I mean, it was pretty much perfect, the location. So this is where I will bring out the 9.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually on 9 again. Wow, I'm being very generous today.
Brunton
I
Park
loved
could be
all.
your ground of the country.
I think it could well be. I loved all of it. Like I said, like we've said before, think about in the Cardiff episode, you don't travel very far from Luton. Your idea of a weekend away is Hitchin, Hemel Hempstead. So to get you all the way up to Carlisle, where you can actually see like a local bus crossing the border into Scotland, it was like, wow, we've come a long way. And it's just this real, like, it would have to be a special occasion to get you to go that far. And just I think like anyone doing the 92 will appreciate this. To tick off Carlisle and I guess Plymouth, which we're yet to do, must be like the sense of achievement. Like, yes, we've ticked off one of the ones that are far from everybody else. So yeah, just as you can see, I'm waxing lyrical. I loved everything about it. I'll give it a 9 for location as well.
I said I was trying to be facetious when I said that, but there is every chance that Carlisle would be your favourite. So I probably wasn't lying there, to be honest. There's every chance it's in the top 2 or 3.
As a match day experience on its own, yeah, it's going to be hard. How often do you see something wrapped up? Yeah, a few and far between. You've got to savour it, haven't you? And 2 years on, I wish I was reliving that moment again right now.
I just wish I was going to a bloody 0-0. I don't care where it is, to be honest. But yeah, location definitely brilliant, and I would happily recommend to any football fan in the country to go and watch a game there because, especially if you do it in spring or early season in the summer, it will normally be a great experience. But on to value. So ticket prices again, just under the £20 mark. Pretty much average. I guess, do we have to factor in that it's the furthest ground north, and is that a bit steep considering? But Carlisle's not a particularly poverty-stricken place like Luton is down here, so it's to me it's standard, it's fair, it's okay. It was a summer Saturday afternoon. I guess what we have to bear in mind then is that season Luton and Pompey, I think, were the big boys of League Two, or Pompey might have even gone already. So Luton were one of the big boys of League Two. So that has to be bared in mind as well, that the prices might have been higher. It would have been a Category A game, whatever. But for me, it was just bog standard, fair enough. And because of the day, I'm not caring about how much I paid, really.
Do we know exactly how much it was? Is it under 20? Like, are we talking like 18?
I'm
like
pretty sure it was £19, but don't hold me to that.
No, okay. Yeah, I think, again, we've said that's fair.
Anywhere in that region, isn't it? From sort of 16 to 20 for League Two.
And correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I think I do remember you saying inside the ground, you looked at the like refreshments and drinks and stuff, and you said, these are good prices.
I'm pretty sure I got a drink in the ground, yeah.
I think I remember you saying, like, oh, these are reasonable compared to, like, down south Luton.
Watford.
Right. So yeah, I'll give that 8. No, maybe I just love Carlisle, don't I? I'm giving it just for the sake of it now, I'm giving it a high score. 7. We'll give it a 7.
Yeah, it's a standard 7. I mean, the day means that it was worth paying for because it led to a brilliant atmosphere. If that had been on the 28th of December in a mid-table clash, perhaps I would have been 6 or 5. But all things considered, I got a brilliant experience for my money, so no problems with it being a bit. On to the final one, character. Now, again, we've got to take the train journey out of that because that isn't part of the character of the stadium, I don't think. But obviously the green outside it, the big terrace stands. It's a unique stadium. Obviously, we didn't know it was the biggest non-all-seater stadium in the country, but that's another unique feature which all has to add up quite nicely. It's another one of those old grounds, 4 stands, no corners filled in. It ticks all the boxes again, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think so it must be the stand behind the goal that faces the terrace, or maybe it is a terrace as well. I'm not sure, but it's got more of a roof, and almost like the roof like you'd expect on a house, which I thought was quite quite quirky, quite unusual. I did like the ground. Again, you get a feel for how far up north you've travelled because I think one of the quite local sponsors on the hoardings was like the Edinburgh Wool Company. You think, oh yes, we're just literally a few miles south of Scotland here, and again, bit of a geography nerd. I love that as well. So again, I think it has got character, and I'm saddened to hear that they might be moving on from the place.
It's one of those that's been talked about a few years. So let's hope it just never happens or happens in 50 years like the Luton one. But the other thing I would mention on it in terms of character is it was one of those old school ones in the middle of at the end of a terrace street, in the middle of the heart of the town suburbs, I guess. There were little chippies on the corner of all the grounds, or the roads to the ground. It was just one of those classic old school lower league football feels for me.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I liked it. I really did like it. Not too far to walk. Like we said, we were quite scathing about Cambridge for that last week, but this isn't the case this week. Yeah, big fans. A score?
Yes.
This time I will use the 8. I'll go for 8.
I would use 8 as well, actually. I was worrying you were going to go 9 again, as you seem to want to give them every point possible. But it was a really good ground. I guess that's the thing I would say to football fans. Obviously, our overall scores will be in the bottom. You can let us know what you think of them. And if you visited on a wet January day, you can tell us the opposite experience if you want to. But for me, as our match day experience, it was probably definitely in my top 5 that I've had as a football fan. Obviously, with Luton, we've been lucky. We've had a few in the last few years, but that's definitely one of them. And I can't rank it down because, as you say, the weather and the achievement that the club had that we were following is always going to make us biased in that sense.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, well, you know Luton better than I do, but they've had promotions in the last few years. But the Conference one and League One, then it was sealed by somebody else beating a competitor, wasn't it?
So the actual
It was
promotions
League
were,
Two,
yeah.
the only one where Luton did it themselves, and we could celebrate on the day in
So
the heat of the moment, kind of thing.
yeah, League Two was the only one where we won promotion ourselves. League One, we won the title ourselves on the final day. But as you say, Peterborough won us promotion by beating Pompey at the time, I think it was. And I think Fleetwood beat Sunderland the same night. So we never actually got to win promotion on the pitch for those ones. So yeah, it was the only one we
Yeah.
actually secured promotion on the pitch.
So yeah, even though like the last few years have been very good for Luton Town, that has been the sole moment where Luton, like we said, had that moment with the players were like, we are going up. And it's just like them just dancing in front of us in the away end. And yeah, magical moment.
And obviously, a couple of weeks later, it led to the scenes at Notts County, which hopefully by the time we get to end might be back in the 92, but who knows what's going to happen with the end of this football season. They're certainly not in a position to go up on points per game at the minute, so won't be the case if the playoffs are gone. But another brilliant one. Carlisle, definitely one of our favourites. We would happily recommend to go there once this is all over. And I'm sure most football fans will go anywhere, but Carlisle is certainly a good place to go.
Would you go back?
Definitely.
I'd go back. I just want to do that. I want to do that train journey again.
I said to you, I'd quite happily live in Settle on the way up, didn't I?
You did.
That's my sort of place, son.
High praise, yeah. Did look a beautiful town to explore, yeah.
But
get to Carlisle.
Absolutely, a wonderful day, a few wonderful places along the way, and a wonderful football ground as well. Classic old school, and we're very happy with it. So if you did enjoy this episode, please put a thumbs up on it. If you've been to Carlisle or Brunton Park, let us know down below what you think of it. If you've had the opposite experience, we're quite keen to know because obviously we've got the British weather to thank on one occasion here. If you haven't already subscribed down below, you'll get weekly content from this series and daily FM20 content as well. Thank you to Tom for joining me as always.
Cheers.
And hopefully we'll see you next time.